I was at my worst from between the years, I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was trying to please other people, which then put more internal pressure on myself, right? The game of baseball, life in general, that brings about so much pressure as it is. And when you start talking about the external pressure of having to make that person happy and that person happy and then you lose sight on, well, am I even happy, right? Am I doing it because this brings me joy? That was like the biggest kind of hurdle that I had to jump over, was because you start playing baseball because it's fun, you're good at it, that obviously makes it fun too. And then over time, say you get into like the college baseball scene or the professional baseball scene, and then that passion starts to diminish, and then it becomes a job or like a have to, and then it becomes more of like a burden on you because of the anxieties that this game could possess, right? So now that you have a little bit of like context into where I'm at from all of this stuff, diving into self-doubt and essentially like how can we work towards getting better at it, right? Because I don't think as a human being we're automatically flawed, and we're always going to be flawed. We're always going to have these thoughts. And when it comes to self-doubt, I think that's always going to be something that's present. But the thing that I've learned, again, I speak from personal experience, my playing career, my life journey, working with other people and seeing what clicks and what doesn't. Everyone's different, but that's where I come from, and that's the space that I come from. So what I see is that when we talk about doubt, right, we talk about then increasing the amount of internal pressure because of this, I don't like the way this feels, I'm failing, this doesn't feel good, like I want to then try harder, right, to overcome this failure, which only puts more pressure on yourself. Pressure to perform, pressure to be perfect, pressure to not make mistakes, all of these things. And then what happens? So from a physical perspective, when we talk about this stuff, right, self-doubt leading to trying harder, from the physical perspective, we don't give ourselves the best opportunity to perform, because when we're in this have to mindset, I have to get a hit this at bat because I'm 0 for my last 5. I have to have a good outing today because my last 3 outings have been terrible, right? This have to mindset. Now, from the physical, we then are restricted, right? We're restricted. We can't be relaxed. We can't be free. We can't be flowing, I like to call it, because there's so much of this physical tension from this have to mindset and mentality, right? I'm really, really big on, I call it's the flow state, right? Flow, finding flow. The best performers in the entire world, you talk to them or you listen to them, and it's just like, oh, I was in the moment, I trust my preparation, and then I left it all out there. Actors, celebrities, like baseball, basketball, like any sport, all the best performers, they're all seeking out that state of mind in which they are not in conscious thought, they are in physical action, right? So this is the way that I look at it, trying to break it down to someone maybe that doesn't want to nerd out like I do with the mind's power over us, but think about it in terms of what gives you confidence. So some people find confidence from years or weeks or months or whatever amounts of success, right? Seeing success on a consistent basis gives you confidence, right? That gives you inner confidence for sure. What other people say about you, talk about you like, right? Affirmations, that gives you confidence. Sure, absolutely. But what about the way that you prepare, right? What about the way that you train from the physical standpoint, right? That's how I look at it, man, is like I go out and I toe it up full well knowing that like I don't need positive affirmations from any external environment, any person, right? Because I'm secure in my own body, my own self, my own being. I've put in the work, right? My preparation is up here. I've always prided myself on my ability to work the hardest, right? So I know when I toe it up, that's like, there's no thought in me that's like, oh, I should have prepared better, right? Like you're going into a test and you're like, man, I didn't study. Then that comes about, that nervousness, like that anxiety of, oh man, like what if now I'm gonna fail, right? Those thoughts start to creep in. So instead, it's a constant thought of reliance on, I've prepared. Trust your preparation. Now, we talk about preparation, or I talk about preparation a little differently. Physical preparation is one thing, mental preparation is another thing. Physical preparation is, yeah, the training, the flat grounds, the bullpens, the BPs, the running, the weight training, all of that. But the game of baseball is 90% mental, right? So are you mentally preparing yourself to, like, as well, right? So are you putting your breath work into practice? Do you have an ability to calm your mind on command? It's hard, right? Have you practiced a technique with your breath that allows you to remain calm when the entire environment around you is chaos, right? 98% of the time that I work with someone from this standpoint, they're like, whoa, I've never even thought about the practice of the mental side of the game, right? Which is funny because I think everyone knows that the game of baseball is extremely mental, but yet we don't put anything into an intentional practice from the mental side. Is it because we don't know, or is it because it's like not mainstream, right? Like we get looked at weird if we're freaking meditating and breathing and visualizing and positively giving ourselves self-affirmation. It is weird, right? But they're not going to say that when you're in the big leagues making millions, right? So self-doubt, everyone's going to have it. What can you control about self-doubt, right? You can control your response to it. It's not something that is constantly deny, I'm not thinking this, I don't feel this, get away from me. For me specifically, it's acceptance, learning like, okay, that's fine. I have a little bit of doubt right now. That's an emotion, that's a normal thing. It's same with pressure, it's same with nervousness, right? I accept it. But like, that doesn't mean I'm now going to be a different version of myself as I then go into my performance, right? It's the same thing. Control what you can control, trust your preparation, allow your preparation to give you that self-confidence and conviction in yourself, knowing that you're fully well prepared for that. Now, the best part of all of that is, in the entire world of performance, is that you can't lose sleep over bad performance. I mean, you can, I've done it. But when you've checked every single box that there is to check, from the physical preparation, mental preparation, sleep, nutrition, training, like all of those boxes, if you've checked every single one, you could go out and suck and be like, well, like, at least I gave it my all. Like, at least I did everything that I needed to do to put myself in the best possible situation to have success. Now, if it's the opposite of that, then we're having a different conversation. But I think in terms of self-doubt, the wrong approach, I guess I wouldn't say that. I guess there's not really a right and wrong approach because everyone is different in how they handle emotion. But I've seen, and I've struggled with this as well, that when we attempt to deny our human emotions, whether it be nerves, right? Or that like feeling in your stomach when you're about to go perform. I still get that, dude. I'm 10 years into pro ball, and like I'm pitching tomorrow actually, and I have that feeling of like butterflies, like my palms get a little sweaty. Like I think we try to deny that, and that kind of makes it worse because now we're trying to control a very uncontrollable factor. We're putting emphasis on things that shouldn't be put emphasis on, rather than the trust of the mind's trust of the preparation for from the mental and the physical. Now, when we're actually in performance, what can you control? You can control your breath, right? We all know that we're trying to seek flow. We're trying to seek a state of mind in which we're not thinking so much, and we're not thinking like to the point where we're limiting our ability because we're not using this, right? There's that happy medium. Now, this is where I would be extremely like passionate about the in-game performance protocols that you can use in terms of how can I get back to neutral? What protocols can I do to get back to like a neutral mindset or breath work or whatever it is? And then understanding for you as a person, like what is the biggest fear that you have? More oftentimes than not, the fear is you messing up and failing because of trying to impress somebody else. So I think as soon as and this kind of goes into the life aspect, but as soon as we can get to a point when we're not performing, we're not playing a game, or we're not playing baseball because of somebody else, trying to please somebody else, but we're doing it for ourselves, that takes that external pressure away from us, right? And when I say external pressure, I mean pressure that we receive from somebody that we're trying to please, and we're having a hard time doing that, right? Mom and dad, if you're a young one, you know, like the coach, girlfriend, like whatever it is. So when it comes time to perform and be in the game, understand why you're doing it, understand the why, right? Accept the things, the emotions that come up, have a plan to attack that. And then for me, this is different from a lot of people that I've come into contact with, but for me specifically, it's, okay, I'm accepting everything. Cool, got it, comprehend, cool. But I always go back to my root of, I love this game. I love this game. This game is so much fun. This game brings me so much joy. And that's the foundation. That's the baseline. And the more that I can be mindful of that idea and that concept in my head during performance, the better. That's why you don't see me, at least in the last like 3 to 4 years, have a terrible outing and like not talk to anyone, because I was that guy. I was 18, 19 years old. My identity was trapped in the game of baseball. So then my personality was on a freaking roller coaster, because then I was, you know, if I had a good outing, I was nice to people. This is great. I'm happy. Or if I had a bad outing, it was like, oh, I'm the worst person in the world right now. Don't talk to me, right? We get, as athletes, like, that's super easy to fall into that trap of identifying yourself as the actual thing that you do, not who you are. Again, if you're somebody younger watching this, don't get completely like overwhelmed with all of these life aspects. Like, you don't need to get into that just yet. But if you're an older person, or if you're a father or a mother dealing with an athlete that's a son, just know that like there's certain things that we need to establish from a foundation aspect that will then better prepare that person to have success long term, right? Because that's how I was, man. Listen to my journey. I've done a ton of stuff on that recently, and it was like, I was drafted at 18. My identity was definitely the sport of baseball, and I had never dealt with failure before. So then when I did fail, I was like, whoa, what is this? What am I, like, what are these emotions right now? Like, I don't like this. Like, whoa, you have to learn that, right? And that's life in general. So, well, that's all I got. Self-doubt. As human beings, we're flawed, right? And I think the harder that we try to deny emotions, the harder it becomes then to perform, because we're trying to control a very uncontrollable thing, right? Control the things you can, the work you put in, the preparation, being on time, hustling, giving everything you got, being respectful, treating the game with respect, right? All of these things are very in control. Worry about those, and then when you are in performance mode, you're freaking relaxed, dude, because like, you know that you've already done everything you needed to do. Like, all the hard work's been freaking accomplished. Now you have fun, now you compete, right? So it sounds so simple. Hopefully that helps somebody. If you want to book a consult and talk to me more about this and give me your personal experience, and we can kind of go back and forth, on my website, therobbyrowshow.com. Love you guys. God bless. Shirt's tight.